Morning, everybody. I promised I would come in and show you my completed, sorry, my OCD is kicking in and I need to fix this. I promised I would come in and show you my completed kit of Distress Oxides, and I just really realized that there are two that I do not have. I thought I was done, but apparently not. I'm just looking through to see if I put them someplace else, but I don't think I did. And of course, Tim Holtz released his most current color. I think it's called Speckled Egg. So I'll be needing that. So I guess I'll just show you how this goes. So as you can see, I did a color swatch, and I just got this from some free printables from Pinterest. I don't remember the person who pinned it, sorry. And I printed off all of the color labels from the same person. And they had different ways of swatching, but I tend to use white cardstock most. So I thought I'd just swatch it on my typical cardstock. And I just took like I think it was a 5/8 circle punch. And I just did that because that seemed to be the size that would fit in these little squares best. So these are the 6 most recent Distress Oxides that I got from my haul that you would have seen not that long ago. But I thought I would show you how I store these guys. So I bought this tray from Amazon. I'll see if I can find it and link it in the description box below. And if I can find the printables for the other two, for the swatches and the labels, I'll see if I can find those and pin those as well. But basically I think it's intended for nail polish. And I don't know if I can actually pull one apart and show you, but as you can see, it's kind of tiered, so that when these are laying flat, I can actually see all the levels. And it makes grabbing colors a lot easier. And then these I just store in my Calyx unit. And what I did was I put one in front, and then I put like a shoebox that has other, embellishments and stuff behind it, and then I stacked the other one on top. I'll see if I can take a picture when I reassemble the Calyx unit so you can get a better idea, because I don't think I explained it very well. But basically, that's that. So let's finish swatching these bad boys. I have been realizing that I have complicated my YouTube life far too much. Because I've been filming and editing my videos on my phone lately. So the software that I bought for editing videos on the computer, I actually don't need, and they're far more complicated that way. So this is basically all I do. And then there's a little bit of overhang. And so you just kind of go in and snip it off. And I got some Velcro dots at the dollar store because I like to have each of my different colors to have its own little, what do you call it? Oh, that was not sticky. Its own little foam pad. So I put the Velcro on here, and this is the one that's got the hooks, not the soft one. So this is like the scratchy one. And then I just take one of these and boom. So whenever I go to grab one of these, it's got the foam on the back. I know people have these for each individual color, but I don't have storage for that. So when I do these, I typically do them in colors of 3. I like to do like monochromatic blending or whatever. And so typically what I'll do is I'll pull the 3 colors I want, put the little foamy thing on here, and then I'm good to go. Like, I don't need to, have 60 different ink blending tools, because that's crazy. So now what I do is I take one of my little circles, and I will just open this up press it on, and I should probably get my tweezers, otherwise my fingers are going to be covered in ink. Sorry, guys. Thankfully, I didn't have, oh, wrecking the place. I have to get a smaller chair. I reset up my craft room, and the chair that I use right now is crazy big. It's got like the big wing arms and stuff on it, and it's too big for the space that I'm sitting in. So now whenever I go to turn my chair, I end up totally creaming the unit that's next to me, which is just a Michael's unit, but still, you know, nobody likes to have stuff wrecked. So from here, you just saw what I did. I just pressed this little circle thingy in. And what I do here is I like to heat emboss it, because when the ones that I didn't, you can tell the ones that just air dried, they air dried almost like a consistent color. And I found that when you apply heat, it gives this mottled effect. And I think that's closer to what I want. So I'm just going to do this really quick, and I will be back when I'm finished heat embossing this, and then I'll show you the rest. Okay, so that is the finished product, and that is the bundled sage color. So you can see it doesn't match the color on the label, but I guess it really doesn't match that either, but at least it gives you an idea. And I guess that's why you should always color swatch things, because you never really know how close things are going to be. So then I just take some glitter glue with a little bit of rust, and I'll plunk it. Sorry. I'll be right back. All right, doggy drama averted. I gave them their special treat that we give them when we're leaving the house. So hopefully they'll be quiet. So that's basically it. Now I'll just do this for the rest. I mean, I guess you can watch me do that. It's kind of boring though. Yeah, I guess I'll just do that. So once these are done, swatched, I put them in the little organizer, and you know, my OCD is very OCD, so I like to put them, I try to put them in rainbow order, which seems to be helping me grab things, because you know, when you're looking for purple, and I know some people store them by the actual collection, but that's not the way I use color, so that didn't really work for me. Bugger. And I guess, you know, someday I'll probably try to cover these over, because I just printed them on my inkjet printer, so. Okay. Oh, that one's a juicy pad. I did have somebody asked me once if I had any of these leak, because I'm not storing them flat. I'm storing them kind of standing up. I did have one leak. It was a brand new one. Which one was it? Lavender. It was a lavender one. And some of the ink ran out. Sorry, but I mean, it wasn't a big deal, so I'm going to be right back, because now we have fussing. Have any of you noticed that your pets are getting more annoying as we go longer into this COVID-19 quarantine situation? Because mine sure have. I will be back. Between doggy drama and husband phone calls, we're back. And this is more or less dry, so maybe I'll just let it do its thing while I put the labels on the other ones. And then that way I don't have to pause you when I heat emboss. So yes, as I was saying, the doggies are getting more needy the longer we are in quarantine, isolation, whatever. And I'm a little worried for when I do go back to work, because they're going to be suffering from separation anxiety pretty drastically, I think. So, but until then, For any of you that have watched my videos already, you know I have 2 dogs. We have no kids, but we have fur babies. And the female is, oops, it popped off. The female is getting a little bit up there in years, so she's experiencing some, we call it doggy dementia, but her hearing is totally gone. So she just barks, and we're not really sure at what or why, but that's what she does. So she'll go stand by the window, and if she thinks she sees something or hears something, she'll just start barking to let me know. So, yeah, they're terriers. It's what they do. So there, this is basically all that I do. And, oh, something else I want to do, I don't know if you'd call it a review or compare, I guess, would be the 2 different blenders. So scrapbook.com released these dome blenders a little while back, and I was curious to see how they compare to the Ranger or the flat ones in terms of, you know, how much ink you go through and stuff. So maybe I'll do that comparison on another video. I just lost my label. Yeah, I'm pretty put off that I didn't count my Distress Oxide inks right. I thought for sure this would complete the set, but I'm short 2, so. Well, 3 now. That speckled egg has come out. So I've been contemplating buying the 1-inch size regular Distress inks. And I'm not really sure if that's what I want to do or if I will do, because it just seems like I don't have enough little blenders for this. It just seems like, do I need the Distress and the Distress Oxide? I'm not really sure. So if you have any sort of ideas or recommendations about whether or not I should get both, I would be very happy to hear from you in the comments section below, because, you know, these were an investment, and, you know, they're kind of expensive because they're $5 or so, depending on where you buy them, of course, per ink pad. Oh, these are so not sticky. I go to pull them off and oh, here we go. Yeah, so the Distress inks, the little cube ones, are not all that expensive, but I'm wondering if I need both, because that might be overkill. I mean, I don't use these a huge amount. I'm only just starting to use them to do like stamping and stuff with like different colors, because I tend to do all of my stamping in black, and then, you know, you either color it or I actually use these a fair amount as almost like a watercolor, because of the variety that I have. I've got way more of these than I have watercolor markers. However, and the watercolor markers I have are junk. I did order some of the new, I don't know how new they are actually, here on my desk. Yeah, I ordered some of the new Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir markers, so I'm hoping to do a review of those as well. I actually ended up getting a package of Spectrum Noir markers at Winners, my local Winners. You know, how they just randomly have things. So I bought them, and it was like the neutrals pack, so they're good for coloring grays. I think there's one beige. Yeah, there's not a huge variety. So, you know, you can't really use them the way that they suggest, where you use the 3 different shades and you blend them all together. But those are coming, so I'm hoping to play with those a little bit. So yeah, this is basically it, folks. Oh, and while I was off camera, I replaced my my pin. If any of you have art glitter glue, you need to get the, see if I still have the packaging. You need to get the stainless steel fine tip. I don't have the packaging handy. too bad. But you can order them online, and these are great. I used just a regular pin, and because it wasn't stainless steel, you saw the rust that came out when I glued this on. So very handy. Highly recommend. If I can find the link for that, I'll put that below too. A lot of this stuff is probably stuff that people already have, but just in case you're coming across this video and you don't have some of these tools. And this is not expensive. I actually broke my other one. The stainless steel pin, the little plastic head breaks off sometimes, especially when you're not really particularly gentle. Yeah, so this one isn't a really, hard to pick it. I'm trying desperately not to get ink on my hands, but oh well, it is what it is. Distress oxide, it's water-based. It'll come off, right? Okay, I am going to do these, and I will be back when these little paper dots are done. I've got 3 more to do. And I'll show you the swatch almost complete. Almost. Minus the mustard seed and the crushed olive. Those are the 2 that I'm missing. Oh, but now what am I going to... What am I going to do now that we've got the added one? I'll have to put it up here. That'll be all at a rainbow order. First world problems. All right, people. I will be right back. Hello, I am back. And I finished swatching. And don't these 2 bare spots, they make me sad. But basically, yeah, that's that. So what I do now, because of course these are water reactive, I typically will just leave it in the sleeve, and I put it back where I store them. Sorry. Realizing I'm off camera. So yeah, and then that way they're right next to where I want them, and then I can just grab them, and I know kind of what color I'm getting before I reach for it. So I thought I'd take you on a little field trip. This is where I house my inks, and as I said, you can see I've got a shoebox in the back because the Calyx unit is quite big. And then these are some crafty projects, specifically Christmas ones that some of my friends have sent me. So now what I typically do is I will take my ink and I will, and I'll store them like that. And then the blues go in front. Try not to. So yeah, that's kind of how they look. And then that way when I need a color, I can grab the little sheet, which just lives right there, and I know what I'm getting. And yeah, that's basically it. And then I do the same thing over here. So for this one, the yellows and greens go in the back. And you can see it's a bit of a tight fit. I actually thought about getting the drawers, the drawer inserts for the Calyx unit, but my little makeup trays wouldn't have fit with the drawer inserts in. So that's basically it. So they take up 2 cubbies. I mean, I could probably find another way to store them where they take up less room, but for now, this works for me. So yeah, I guess that's it for today, and thanks for watching. I'll be sure to include those links that I promised in the description box below. And yeah, I will stay tuned for the ink blender versus, and we'll see how that goes. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Bye for now.